So I opened that knife and I can't get it closed. I mean, I'm not going to use it or anything, but they're like a trick to it. Oh, hey, how you doing? Welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. I'm Dylan and I know things. This is episode 435. What did I call it again? Oh, yeah, and like that, it's spring. That's what it was. I was like, wait a second, what did I call it? Because I had multiple titles for this episode, and I forgot what I called it. But if you want to see what the other titles could have been, check the description of this video, and you'll probably see it all in my gibberish. But hey, today it is, man, my brain is everywhere. It is 19th of March, last day of winter. Spring begins officially at 11:33 a.m. tomorrow. So that's pretty interesting. We had a busy week of holidays, even though there weren't really any major holidays. But I mean, St. Patrick's Day's a major holiday, but I mean, it's like Pi Day and Ides of March and John 3:16 and St. Patrick's Day. So here we are, the final day of the winter of 2021-2022. Here in Baltimore was another kind of bleh winter. Not really any snow, not really anything. The big storms missed us completely. We got some snow, but nothing too major, which in my age now is not that big of a deal. Kind of glad that we didn't have the big snowstorm or whatever that we've been having so far. And so now we start getting into the warmer temperatures. Today was 75 degrees, a little bit too warm for spring, but still pretty nice. That was about the same temperature yesterday as well. We're going to drop back down to some more seasonable sort of stuff around the 50s tomorrow. And the next week, it looks like it's going to be about seasonable for the most part, though they claim that there's going to be a polar vortex rolling through here next weekend. Maybe a little bit. Tomorrow, 57, Monday, 70, Tuesday, 63, Wednesday, 55, Thursday, 68, Friday, 61, Saturday, 57, Sunday, 54, 48 for Monday. So there's that. The Academy Awards are next weekend, next Sunday, actually. So I'll be doing 2 episodes of my show next week, this regular one and then my Oscar picks. Don't know when I'm going to do my Oscar pick show, probably on Sunday. That means I got to start thinking about that stuff and wondering what I'm going to be doing, who I'm picking, stuff like that, and end up watching it as well. So we'll check that out as well. But yeah, springtime is here. It is, the beginning of fall over in the Southern Hemisphere now. And we've got some trailers to talk about, a rant or two, a lot of football news. It's a busy football week. OnlyFans. Peep stuff, Steve Martin, owls are not what they seem, awards, screenplays, Crocs, food, shows, Tom Brady being a flip-flopper and now has another scandal, possibly, potentially, that no one is talking about. So we're going to talk all about that right now. I might save my rant for later right now. So nothing to report about St. Patrick's Day. Didn't really do much. Wore my St. Patrick's Day shirt, and a lot of people wore green, but that's about it. Didn't watch any St. Patrick's Day's movies like I usually do. Didn't really listen to any of my music, so just kind of a blurg sort of day, but it's been kind of a blurg sort of life. So there's that. Last Sunday, if you were watching the show last weekend, I was saying that we were turning the clocks ahead an hour and everybody screaming and yelling and stuff like that. Well, Washington is brought a bill to Congress to get rid of daylight savings time and just have the one time here. But one group that's from Washington that is against this is saying, here's why we need daylight savings time. And it was actually really informative because I knew I'd heard something like this before. Now I have verification of it. if we do not turn our clocks back an hour, okay, in the fall, we will have sunrises from like mid-October to like January, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So it'll be dark 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And you'll start seeing some stuff at 8 a.m. and the sun might be rising at 9 a.m. I mean, most people are at work at that time. A lot of people go to work at 7 o'clock. So that's 2 hours being at work before the sun even comes out. And then I thought also that the sun, if you don't do that, also the sun will, during the summer, will stay out, will not set till like 10 o'clock at night, something like that. It's a really interesting map, actually. Let me see if I can bring it up here again and verify some of the stuff here. I doubt I'll be able to find it again, but worth a shot here. I'm just going to fly through here real quick, see if I can find it. But it makes a very interesting case, the fact that, yes, it's awful. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so see. Time of the latest sunrise of the year if daylight savings time is made permanent. In Maryland, it is like 9 to 9:30. Parts of the Midwest and up high can be 10 o'clock or later. Alaska would be 10 o'clock or later, obviously. So there are some changes here. Let's see, they have some here. Let's see, Washington, D.C. 8:27 a.m., 5:45 p.m. So there's a lot of stuff going on that people are concerned about with if they decide to do this time change thing. So it's probably not for the best, but we'll see what happens. And I actually read a story somewhere that back in the 70s, they did try to do permanent daylight savings time or whatever, and people were against it, actually. When they tried it back in the 70s, after a while, they wanted to get rid of it and go back to the way it was. So interesting fight to see what goes with that, but it honestly doesn't bother me. So your little inconvenience, big fucking deal, okay? Just suck it up and deal with it, That's absolutely stupid. We've got confirmation that the new Fortnite season is going to start tomorrow, I believe. Excuse me. We do have the downtime. Well, here's the rumor. They say downtime is going to start today at 3 a.m., but it does not say when it's going to come back up. Though they are assuming that's probably going to be like a typical update. Most people were saying, it's not going to come out till Monday. That's probably not true. It'll probably be out on Sunday because they prefer to have people who want to work to play the new season to do it on a day where they're not working. When Chapter 3 Season 1 came out, people thought that we weren't going to be able to have Fortnite when we had the live event on a Saturday, December 4th. It wasn't going to come on until like December 7th. It was going to be like a 3-day break, but instead it came early on Sunday and we were able to play it. So I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen to this. There was no live event this end of this chapter, end of this season, because of a couple of reasons. One, not every season of Fortnite has a live event. We've had ones that have just gone to the next one, and there have been ones where there's been a single player solo thing that leads you into the next storyline, that sort of stuff. So we'll see what happens if they're going to do something like that, or if they're just going to just put it right out and say, here's the new stuff. The other rumor is that the reason why they're not doing it is because, and there's been no footage, no trailers, no teasers, which is unusual. Usually they have something to get people excited about it. But in this case, they haven't done anything, which actually is kind of good because now we have absolutely no idea what's coming. We don't know what the battle passes look like. We don't know what the weapons are that are going to be coming out. We don't know the situation, the storyline, whatever. But a lot of people believe that it is going to be a war story. between the IO and the 7, which if you don't play Fortnite, don't worry about it. Just realize it's two factions that are one's trying to destroy the world, another's trying to save it. And they believe that because of the war in Ukraine, that it was a bad time to promote a video game season about a war between two factions. So that's a rumor that's going out, also possible. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll find out for sure. But yes, Fortnite will be getting its new season, more than likely tomorrow. And there was no live event. 3 a.m. It goes down. So that's fine. The Batman this week passed $300 million domestically and $519 million worldwide. Oh, excuse me. China has started slow, so here's hoping that China will bulk up a little bit and we'll get more money to come worldwide for it. The Miss Marvel trailer, finally with the first footage of the new Miss Marvel show coming out June 8th, which will be running simultaneously with Obi-Wan, with Kenobi, I should say. Kenobi will be on episode 3 on June 8th. So when Miss Marvel premieres, it'll be on episode 3, Kenobi will be. And so they'll be overlapping for the month of June. And then Kenobi's going to end early July. And the rumor is that Andor, the next Star Wars series from Disney Plus, will jump right after Kenobi ends. So that will be overlapping with Miss Marvel. And Miss Marvel will end, and then we'll see if She-Hulk will jump on to that sometime in July. We have not really seen any full trailer for She-Hulk. We've seen a teaser for it, but that didn't really show much. So when you see that, a lot of people are upset with the Miss Marvel trailer because her powers are different than they are in the comics, but that's due to how she gets her powers in the comics. They have something to do with the Inhumans, and since the Inhumans show tanked on ABC, they are not bringing the Inhumans into the MCU, and so you couldn't do what she did to get her power. So they're doing something different. So we'll see what happens. I still think it looks good. It looks completely different than what they've done before. And it looks like that, you want to have these differences. You don't want to keep rehashing the same old BS over and over again. So I think that's a good thing too. I've been trying to find this trailer for a while, and then I was surprised to discover that it was released recently because it'll be coming out on HBO Max near the end of April. But there was a book that was written, a nonfiction book, called We Own the City, and it's about a department in the Baltimore City Police Department that is crooked. They went about and they planted drugs on Black people, and they stole money from actual drug dealers and stuff like that, and they live large, and it was during the time of the whole racial tension stuff, the Freddie Gray thing, so on, so they were able to get away with it for a while, but then they got dropped somehow, and they've been taken care of. They've actually forced a guy who was going to get internal affairs involved they actually killed the guy and blamed it on something else. So that's kind of interesting too. The show stars John Barenthal, who was on Walking Dead and played the Punisher, and also local actor Josh Charles, who is pretty, not hugely famous, but he's well known. If you see him, you'll know who he looks like. They are the main stars of it. And the first trailer for it came out. The show that they made, filmed here in Baltimore, came out this week. And it looks, like you expect it to look. It looks like what you absolutely expect it looks like. And it's a book that I've been wanting to read for a while. So hopefully I'll get it. The paperback version of the book just came out this week. So if you want to read it before you watch it, We Own This City is the name of the book. Don't know who writes it, but you can probably find it. It'll probably be front and center in most Barnes and Nobles. In this, if you're outside the state, you might want to just go up to whoever or type it in to Amazon and type in We Own This City, and it'll pop up for you. So looked pretty good. I mean, looked how you expected. So hopefully to be a good one for you. The Pentaveret trailer also came out this week. For those who don't know what the Pentaveret is, think back now to the early 90s. Mike Myers, fresh off of Saturday Night Live and the hugely popular Wayne's World movie. And before Austin Powers, came up with a movie called So I Married an Axe Murderer, which actually is a very entertaining film. Stars Mike Myers, Nancy Travis, Amanda Plummer, Anthony LaPaglia, Brenda Fricker. Trying to see who else is in it. Charles Grodin has a cameo in it. Steve something, the big-haired comedian who talked really low, but he was very deadpan, and I forget who he is. I forget his name. He was in it also. And Mike Myers, as he tends to do, he played multiple characters. Well, not only one other character really. He played his dad in his Scottish way before he did Shrek also, because Mike Myers is some reason obsessed with Scottish stuff, but he made his father be Scottish, and his character in So I Married an Axe Murderer be Scottish also, but didn't have the accent, was talking just like Mike Myers. Anyway, the dad is Scottish, and he's also kind of a conspiracy theorist, and he says that there is a group called the Pentaveret, which is run by the Queen and a few other people who control everything. And Mike Myers just thought, he's just reading his World Weekly News stuff and come up with these conspiracy theories and blah blah blah, and it's not true. Well, that idea had been fermenting in Myers's head for years and years. He was just waiting to see how the best way he could do it because he wanted to do something with the Pentaveret, and now he's able to with the advent of streaming and Netflix being a player in that. He was able to get a TV deal for his show, The Pentaveret, which he wrote, and apparently he plays like 9 characters in it. And the first trailer for it comes out. It's definitely unique and different and a little weird. And we'll see if that was done by design to let people know this isn't going to be Austin Powers light. Though you do see a couple of his characters that he does play, including a British news person who is going undercover to call him out. So first trailer that comes out May 5th. The Pentaveret, Penta 5, May 5th, 5th month, 5th year. I mean, 5th month, 5th day of the 5th month. I think it's clever. I'll probably check it out when it comes out. I'll be taking off that May 6th to go see Doctor Strange. So I might check that out on May 6th before I go see Doctor Strange. More than likely, they'll have the entire series put on because Netflix does that. But I'm going to only watch one episode, and if I don't like it, I'll just say, I'm hell with it. So we'll see. Got that coming up. Anything else trailer related on this page? Nope. Speaking of, I did talk about the Batman. Paul Dano, who plays the Riddler, is writing a comic for DC called Riddler Year One, but it's based on his version of the Riddler and not the DC Comics version of it. But it will be coming out, I believe, in June. And that leads me to another thing is that I remember Mountain Dew said they were going to release a Mountain Dew flavor called Riddler's Brew. And it still isn't out yet. And the Batman movie's now been out for almost 3 weeks. So I don't think we're going to be getting Riddler's Brew. Or if we are, it's going to be way late. Or they're going to wait till maybe it comes out on DVD or streaming and then do it then. But I have not heard a single thing about it. And I don't know, maybe they scrapped the whole thing. They might have made it that new flavor I told you about that's only available at the Wings, the Wings place. I forget what it's called right now. Something Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings. That's what it is. So we'll see. Call of Duty video game will be adding Snoop Dogg as a character. Skin, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, if you want to play a Snoop Dogg killing people and shooting people, then yeah, go for it. It is the full moon tonight, hence the shirt. The worm moon. It's the last full moon of the winter, and it is called the worm moon. So, just wanted to drop that in there as well. Christopher Lloyd has joined the cast of The Mandalorian Season 3, playing a role we don't know what it's called yet or who he's going to be, but we will find out when they release that. Game of Thrones mountain actor, a guy who played the Mountain in Game of Thrones, beat the world's strongest man, Eddie Hall, in a boxing match this week. Good for him. I love coffee creamers. I found the Willy Wonka one. I haven't tried it yet. It's in my refrigerator presently. I'm still getting through my Twinkie one. And I also not supposed to be eating chocolate for the majority of Lent, but we'll see. Maybe I'll crack it open tomorrow. We'll find out. Probably not. But I'd like to try it. But this isn't International Creamers. This is the other one that we use. But they have a drumstick flavored coffee creamer coming out. And no, it's not chicken drumstick flavored. It's a drumstick, that peanutty vanilla ice cream sort of treat you get from ice cream trucks and vending machines and stuff like that. So it'll be probably a nutty, vanilla-y sort of flavor of creamer. So I really wish, with Easter coming up, I really wish they would re-release the Reese's peanut butter egg one, because that was so good. Now they have a Reese's peanut butter one, but I haven't seen that in a while either. Could be COVID related, but I haven't seen that one in a while. But a few years ago, they released the peanut butter egg one, Reese's peanut butter egg one, and it was so much better because, much like the peanut butter eggs, there's more Reese's peanut butter and Reese's chocolate in the eggs than there are in the regular ones. So when you make a creamer like that, you are going to double the flavoring of that, and it was fantastic. So I wish they'd bring that back. My kids and my wife are presently camping with the Scouts. They'll be home tomorrow, probably this time about 24 hours from now, which is also going to be, not 24, 12 hours from now, which is going to also be the beginning of spring as well. They will be home, and they went camping. And one of the fun things to do about camping is you make s'mores or you roast marshmallows. Well, now you can use a campfire fishing rod that you can put your marshmallow at the end of it and put it over the fire and hold it up and get it cooked, and then reel it in when it's ready. And there you go. Pretty neat idea, and go for it. This week is also the beginning of the NCAA tournaments, both men and women's basketball. The men's I could really care less about, though. The interesting thing is St. Peter's, who was a 15 seed, beat the number 2 seed, beat a number 2 seed on Thursday, and they went to their next round today, and they beat a number 7 ranked team. So now they're again entering the Sweet 16, which is kind of interesting. Is it Sweet 16? No. Is it? It might be the Sweet 16. I don't know. Anyway, they made it to next week's rounds, so that's kind of interesting to see that. But here in Baltimore, or rather Maryland, the men's Maryland basketball team was lousy this year, but they had a lot of drama, and we'll see what happens whenever they decide their new coach is going to be, and hopefully we'll get some new recruits and we'll be better again. Don't see that happening anytime soon, but we'll see. But the women's Terps basketball team is consistently fantastic. It has an amazing coach in Brenda Fries, who is considered to be one of the greatest women's basketball coaches in history. And she has never lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think the wild thing of she's 15-0 or 17-0 or something like that in NCAA first round wins. And they did it again this week. They beat a Delaware team. They didn't just beat them, they annihilated them. I think they were the only team in the women's and maybe even in the men's that scored 100 points. They beat Delaware 102-71. So now they go to play a game tomorrow. We'll see if they can advance to the next round after that. They probably should, because they're usually really, really good. Sticking with sports a little bit, Ken Griffey Jr. You remember Ken Griffey Jr., one of the best baseball players in the late 90s, early 2000s. Seattle Mariners, Cincinnati Reds, type of thing. He and his dad both played on the Seattle Mariners at one time. In fact, there's a video out there where they hit back-to-back home runs. So that's always kind of interesting. But Ken Griffey has not played for a really long time because he is too old to play now. And he retired, I don't know, a long time ago. I think he's already in the Hall of Fame, to be honest. So what I'm about to say may or may not become much of a surprise, because you all know about the Bobby Bonilla stuff, where every year the New York Mets have to pay him $1 million until like 2027. And one of the weirdest contracts that they ever was ever made. And Bobby Bonilla has played in less time than Ken Griffey Jr. has, and has been away longer than he has. Anyway, Ken Griffey Jr. is presently the 6th highest paid member of the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. Remember, he hasn't played for the Cincinnati Reds since 2008. That's 14 years. And he's the 6th highest paid member of the Reds, again, due to one of these strange contracts, which I have to be perfectly clear. Also, the Orioles have one also with what's his face, Chris Davis. So we're going to be paying him for a few years afterwards. Probably not as long as Bonilla or Griffey Jr., but still. Whew. But the fact is that he is the 6th highest paid member on the Reds team right now. He's not playing for them. Hasn't played for them in 14 years. That's just, excuse me, absolutely insane. The Legend of Boggy Creek, the first sort of found footage type of film that I think was a fake film based on a true story type of thing about a Bigfoot sighting in this place called Boggy Creek. They made a movie about it. Well, it is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, so that's kind of interesting. Back in January, Scream, or it should be known as Scream 5, tore up the box office and became a huge hit. And sure enough, the producers behind it are like, yeah, we'll make another one, because you got to remember, when Scream 1 came out, Scream 2 came out basically the next year after it, and then Scream 3 came out a couple of years after that. But Scream 6 is officially on the schedule and is due to be released on March 31st, 2023. Excuse me a second while I pick up my pen here. Excuse me while I whip this out. So yeah, Scream 6 will be in theaters March 31st, 2023. It is going to start filming this summer. It's obviously not a high CGI sort of movie, so you film it in the summer, you edit it, it'll be ready in time for March 31st. So not a big whoop. George Lopez joins the Blue Beetle movie that is presently being filmed right now for HBO Max. Chris Pine is currently working on the Dungeons and Dragons movie, and he released a statement about that. He described the Dungeons and Dragons movie as, it's like Game of Thrones mixed with a little Princess Bride, a smidge of Holy Grail, and a bit of, I can't read that, of something else, but it's supposed to be it sounds like it's going to be kind of a sort of big, bombastic, sort of medieval sort of thing, but it's going to have some humor and romance in it. So we'll check it out when that comes out. Excuse me. My girl Sarah Michelle Gellar revealed that she is. Excuse me a second. Sorry, Sarah. My girl Sarah Michelle Gellar was interviewed this week, and she said she's all for a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot, and she even said, and I think you should cast Zendaya in it, which would be very intriguing if they decide to do something like that. But that is your original Buffy. Well, you don't want to talk about Christy Swanson, but the original TV Buffy, and the best one, by the way, the best looking one, going out there and saying she believes that Zendaya should play the next Buffy, which I think is really cool. Speaking of returning to characters, Chris Columbus, the director of Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone, and Chamber of Secrets, is intrigued with the idea of getting the band back together and filming The Cursed Child. Cursed Child is one of the worst stories ever written. It is blatant fan fiction. It destroys everything about the series and made it less magical. Obviously, it was supposed to be a theatrical production. If you see it on the stage, it's actually supposedly breathtaking, but the story itself is so weak and so awful that I don't even consider it as part of canon. But Chris Columbus said that, time might be right to bring the gang back together and do The Cursed Child. And you get Daniel and Emma and Rupert back. And Daniel Radcliffe came out and said, "You're right. I'm not going to do that. F that." So thus ended that. He didn't say it that badly, but he said he's really not that interested at this point in revisiting Harry Potter, even with Chris and all that. I think the Harry Potter reunion they did earlier this year was enough for him to satiate his Harry Potterness and said, I'm done. So we'll take care of it that way. The Golden Girls prayer candles are a thing now. So if you like to pray to things and you like the Golden Girls, so they'll be it. There you go. A kid slams into a sloth while on a zip line. There's video of that, so it's not fake or anything like that. I can't imagine that could have been good for either of them, but apparently everything was okay. Russian cosmonauts aborted the space station, the ISS, International Space Station, wearing the colors of Ukraine in defiance of their whacked and insane ruler who the Republican Party is backing, which is absolutely stunning to me. But not really too much because Republicans are a bunch of fucking assholes, losers who should be destroyed and should never be able to talk politics ever again because they have no politics and need to be wiped out completely. So, but of course, nothing's going to be done about it because nothing ever is. Let's talk some football notes and then maybe I'll rant a little bit. This has been a busy week in football. It started off horribly. We were so excited and happy that Tom Brady decided that he was going to call it a career and retire, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, that's great." And then all of a sudden on Sunday or Monday, he's like, "Just kidding, I'm coming back." And all I can say about that is apparently he hates his wife and kids, which isn't unusual because Tom Brady's a fucking egotistical asshole and should never have to play football ever again. Once you retire, you should never be able to unretire. But unfortunately he is. He's going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And everyone was creaming their pants when people were saying that. And I was like, you're fucking insane. Now, beat writers and sports writers, ones who are creaming their pants, the fans are just like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. No, just go away. My favorite thing, this one that I said is, how can we miss you, Tom Brady, if you won't go away? But unfortunately, I have unfinished business. Like, you have no fucking unfinished business. You've got 1 million Super Bowl rings. You've taken teams, 2 separate teams and 2 separate divisions to the Super Bowl and won it. You've proven yourself better than Bill Belichick. Just fucking retire and jam your gorgeous supermodel wife over and over again. You should be doing that and hanging out with your kids. Instead, you're like, fuck these kids, and I don't like you that much anymore, Giselle. So fuck you too. And he wants to hang out with the boys again. So fuck you, Tom Brady, as I say about that. And then it went on to go even more crazy. The big news came out this week. Deshaun Watson, he was found innocent of his, not innocent, but he was found that he will not be indicted for his sexual abuse of massage therapists, 49 of whom have come out and said that he did this, but for whatever reason have been either paid to not talk about it or were not called to defend themselves. So they said it's okay. But the good news is that they're still suing him for money and they can still win a lot of that. That's what happened with OJ. He got off, but the family sued him and they got money off of him. So the same thing's gonna happen. But then Deshaun Watson, who was hemming and hawing, he's like, I'm gonna now that he was free and clear, there were teams saying we need a quarterback. So who are you gonna go to? So the two first thing he did was he told the Cleveland Browns, "Nah, I'm not going to come to you. Sorry, Cleveland." And then he hemmed and hawed about the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints, and ended up going to the Cleveland Browns, which makes absolutely no sense. Actually, it does, because they are guaranteeing him $230 million. And there are clauses in it that even if he gets suspended, which he's going to for 6 games at least to begin the season, he will not get his money or something like that. The Browns have fucked themselves again. Baker Mayfield has decided he wants to be traded now. And so he's moving on from that. So they're going to try to find someone to trade him to and try to get something for him, even though they're not going to get anything for him. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And the Cleveland fans are not that excited about it. There are a bunch of signs showing up calling him a rapist. People are sending money to rape groups in his name and stuff like that. So we'll see how that comes up, but that just seems like a total fucking foobar. Russell Wilson has decided he's going to go to the Denver Broncos. So that immediately makes them Super Bowl contenders. And that drives me crazy now, because now they're all like, Deshaun Watson's in Cleveland. Cleveland's going to be back. They're going to win the Super Bowl, blah, blah. He hasn't played for a year. And everyone's like, and they've just jumped the Ravens. It's like, no, you didn't jump the Ravens, because the Ravens beat Deshaun Watson twice when he was quarterback for the Texans. So don't even get me started on that. And then we're going to get to a rant about that in a second. So now Russell Wilson is in Denver, and everybody's like saying, well, now Denver is going to be a team to watch out for. They're going to be Super Bowl bound, which again, I really don't see it. They have some good players, and it's Russell Wilson. He's okay, but he's also on the downside of his career. And it's just people just mostly as a sports people just jamming their pants. And they're saying the AFC West is the best, the best division now. And then on top of that, Devontae Adams, who is the best wide receiver in football, was on the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers signed his 3-year deal, so he's staying in Green Bay, but that didn't get him to stay because they franchised Devonta Freedom. He didn't want to be franchised. He wanted a long-term contract, but Green Bay said, we're not going to do that. So they traded him to the Las Vegas Raiders. So now they're saying, oh, God, now the Raiders are going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're so powerful now. They have the best wide receiver in football and an okay quarterback in Derek Carr. Again, Derek Carr is a good passer, stuff like that, but he didn't win anything. He was one and done in the playoffs, a lot of stuff just boggles my mind how they put these people up on pedestals. Patrick Mahomes went on a downslide also. And yes, he made it, all the way to the final game, but didn't quite win over the Bengals. So whatever, but still he's not as good as he used to be also. It just drives me absolutely bonkers. The Buffalo Bills got Von Miller on a 6-year deal. And Chandler Jones also went to Las Vegas, so he's pretty good. So Vegas actually has a couple of good playmakers, so we're going to see what happens with that. But again, you don't know what's going to happen from now on. On paper really doesn't mean jack or shit. That's the same thing with draft capital. Someone gets drafted like, oh, he's on paper. He was so great in college. And then he fucks up and isn't that good in the NFL. He can't, get himself used to the NFL, or it takes him a few years. He's not the great thing. And meanwhile, people who think, oh, that's a terrible pick, that's terrible, they're not going to pan out. They actually do, pretty steady and are pretty good. So it drives me absolutely bonkers about all that stuff. So that happened as well. Mitch Trubisky, who is not a very good quarterback, it's passable, but it's not very good, is now the Pittsburgh Steelers' new quarterback. And the Ravens signed a couple of big key free agents. They signed probably the best corner in football in free agency right now, in Marcus Allen, I think his name was, or Marcus Williams. I'm sorry, Marcus Williams. And they also signed a durable outside tackle. I forget his name right now, but they both signed on. And then we thought they signed Zadarius Smith, who was on Green Bay. He came in and he hand shook and said that he will play for the Ravens for this much amount of money. People thought it was a steal, but people thought maybe Zadarius just wanted to get out of Green Bay, come back to the team that drafted him and got him involved and stuff like that. But then when he saw Von Miller get paid and someone else get paid who's also just good, I can't think of his name right now. He's like, no, this isn't good. I'm going to get paid by someone else. So he backed out of the Ravens deal, and that makes the Ravens be awful because he backed out. And we didn't overpay him. I don't understand that. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because Baltimore sports radio is absolutely fucking stupid. And I'm going to go a little bit of rant here. It should only be about a few minutes. And I was really blown away on Friday. And that's why it made me want to just stop and pause for a second here and just rant a little bit about this. Baltimore sports radio is absolutely fucking stupid right now. There's only one sports radio station, 105.7, and the DJs who run, not DJs, the talking heads that run it are just, they're just. I like some of the things they do and say, but a lot of times it's a lot of forced stuff trying to be funny. They need more funny. The new emphasis on gambling, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me either, is why is gambling interesting? It really isn't, because it's just predicting things and just hoping that they do this, and if it does, you make money. If it don't, it don't. How can that sustained be what they call wagertainment, which is absolutely fucking stupid? And that takes us to drive time, which is what I listen to when I'm coming home from work, because I don't listen to anything in the morning because I just like to be waking up and just focus on my thoughts and stuff like that. And there's really nothing I want to listen to. Don't listen to music. Don't want to listen to these talking heads because I don't like Ed Norris, who is the former commissioner of Baltimore Police, who left in a disgrace. And Jeremy Kahn, who I used to like when he was with, I forget his name, Tom something or other. Scott Garceau. I'm sorry, Scott Garceau. They were good at the drive time, but now he's just kind of annoying, and he's all about wagertainment and stuff like that. And I forget who the other guy is. He's okay, but they just all of them together just is annoying. And then you have the midday, which everyone wants to do anyway. You have a former GM who wasn't that good, and an okay sports guy, so they're okay. But then we come to the drive time guys, and Ken Wyman and Jason Lockenfor. Now, Jason Lockenfor believes he's better than everybody. He's a local guy, which makes this even worse. But he also has a job as a special correspondent for CBS, NFL on CBS. Now, when I've watched that stuff, he comes on for like one segment and leaves, and that's really all about it. He's a insider, and honestly, I don't know how inside he really is. But he makes himself out to be bigger than he is. And then Ken Wyman, who is a guy who's been consistently on the radio station, used to do the late night shows and then would come in and fill in for everybody. Now finally gets his own show. Absolutely idolizes his friend Jason and probably, loves him to death, and believes he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. They did podcasts together, stuff like that. And then you throw in Tim Barbalace, who's their, producer, who was okay for a while, but now being around them too much, he's becoming more of a cocky asshole as well. They absolutely hate the Ravens GM, Eric DaCosta. They hate the Ravens owner, Steve Bisciotti. And the only reason why they hate him is because they refuse to come on to do their show and do special segments on their show. There are other owners and GMs who do special segments on other sports drive time shows. And so they feel that it is owed to them that these guys should talk to them and only them, because this is Jason Lockenfor, who's famous. And so they blast everything the Ravens have done. They did this thing where they said, is the AFC West not AFC West. Yes, it was AFC. Is the AFC West better than the Ravens? And they've said other things. So they're making it out to be that the Ravens are like the worst team in football. Let's get a little bit of clarity here, guys. Yes, they finished in last place. They finished 8-9, which really isn't awful. And if they would have had a few of those stupid 2-point conversions back and just gone and kicked field goals and possibly tried their hand in overtime, they probably could have won a couple of those. You win, 3 or 4 of those games, you're in the playoffs, you're number 1 seed in the playoffs. And this is a banged up team that lost everybody to injury. And we're supposed to get everybody back, but they're all like, oh, might not be getting them all back. So then when the news of these signings came up, the first one is the best free agent corner in the NFL. And that's not just, that's lots of people saying that is going to the Ravens. They're like, yeah, he's a good thing, but they probably should spend their money on a pass rusher, which is the thing is they're jerking themselves off to pass rusher. You need pass rush. You need pass rush. You need pass rush. Pass rush is nice, yeah, but look, we're in a league that throws the fucking football. Now, these quarterbacks are going to be faster and are more mobile, and they're going to beat a lot of the time a good pass rush. So they're going to get the ball thrown to somebody downfield. If you don't have a good corner out there to shut that down or possibly get an interception, or get some hurries, which we got a lot of hurries with some of our guys that we had that weren't as good. And we just didn't have the good secondary that we should have had. And that's where we got blown out a lot of time. This guy alone comes in, is going to take over one whole half of the field, which is going to be, if he plays up to the way he has been, is going to be a beast out there and is going to cause them to think twice about trying to throw the ball and trying to go back to the run game, which we are excellent at stopping. And then we're going to be getting a lot of our guys back from injury, and they're all like, they're not making any big splashes in free agency. They're not signing any of these good players. They're going to suck. They're going to be the worst team in the NFL. They've already said it over and over again. They're the worst team in the NFL. They're not going to win more than 4 games next year. And they can just suck my ass because you're supposed to, like, we don't want to be homers, but you've got to open your fucking eyes a little bit. And just because you're a little pissed that the GM, who you keep insulting over and over again, and the owner, who is a very private person, I don't need to hear what the owner has to fucking say about anything. He doesn't have to say anything. He just pays the fucking checks, make sure that, people are paid. And that's all he needs to fucking do. He doesn't need to come out and declare himself and say things where he wants a team to go. Fuck that. Jerry Jones is a fucking lunatic who thinks he's God's gift to football, and that's what you want? You want someone like that, you fucking stupid assholes? Well, fuck you and fuck off. I can't believe I'm listening to these assholes. They absolutely despise the Baltimore Ravens. They think they're the worst team. They all love Lamar Jackson, but they're all like, well, the Ravens aren't doing enough to sign Lamar Jackson. No, Lamar Jackson is the one who's calling the fucking shots. Haven't you been listening to anything? He's the one that says, I'll take this $23 million deal and I will play for a bigger contract. Joe Flacco did the same goddamn thing, and you hated his ass also. You claim you didn't hate him when he was good, and then when he's bad, you're like saying, see, we were right, he was terrible. No, he was very good for about 6 or 7 years, you dumb fucks. And yet you had to keep insulting him, you fucking assholes. You call yourself Baltimore fans? Go suck me off, you stupid shitheads. God damn it, you make me so fucking pissed off right now. You don't know jack or shit about it. You think you're so great. You think you know everything. Well, you can just go fuck off. If you want to go cover a team, go fucking somewhere else. Go to New England. Go to fucking Denver if you want to, or Las Vegas, or fucking Kansas City, where the fuck you want to go, then do it and get off my airways. Let's get somebody on here who's actually pretty good at, cheering up the team. And then on the flip side, now I'm excited that the Orioles, their minor league teams are, considered the best in football, baseball, and stuff like that. And a lot of these guys are now going to be entering the league. But again, there's no fucking guarantee these guys are going to be any good. And yet you are just stroking the Orioles' higher offices off because they've been on your fucking show. That's the whole reason why they've come on and they answer your questions. Yes, we have some good prospects, but there's no guarantee it's going to happen. Grayson Rodriguez is the number one pitching prospect in baseball. And what is to say that he goes out for his first game in the majors and blows out his blows out his arm, has to have Tommy John surgery. He comes back, he's not the same thing. Or Adley Rutschman, who just hurt himself in spring training again. What if he doesn't come back fully as well? You all are, comparing the Ravens and the Orioles, and you're like, well, the Orioles are miles away from the fucking Ravens. Well, the Ravens have a better shot of winning a championship sooner than the fucking Orioles are. Now, I love the Orioles, don't get me wrong, but this blatant sucking them off because you hate the fucking Ravens is absolutely frustrating to me, and you just need to go and leave. And the other thing I hate about their show is they don't talk about women's sports. I think some of the other shows might a little bit, but that whole fucking station doesn't even talk about The Maryland Terrapin women basketball team has been consistently good for like the last 15 plus fucking years, and you've never covered them once. You didn't even cover them in the NCAA tournament, their championships. It's because, they're women's sports. It's not real sports. Instead, you're bitching and moaning about the Maryland Terrapins men's basketball team who hasn't been good for years. You're like, what are we going to do? We need coaching. And we're also, they're not going to be good for a really long time. It was stupid of them to move out of the ACC, and they're not going to, and Maryland is not the powerhouse it used to be. And there's nobody out there who is going to make it or want to come to Maryland and turn it into a powerhouse. So, why don't you focus on a team that's actually winning, which is the Maryland Terrapins women's, or at least cover other women's sports as well. WNBA happens during the summer. You don't always have to fucking talk about baseball or, football practice stuff and all that bullshit. There's actual basketball stuff going on with women playing it, but it's women. Oh God, we can't talk about women. And then the fucking commercials on there are all about ED and stuff like that because they think only men listen to sports radio. Well, fuck that noise. My wife is a fucking jock and she loves sports and loves listening to that shit. But she doesn't listen to that because why the fuck should she? It doesn't cover anything that she's interested in, really, to be honest. So you can just go fuck off with all your anti-women misogyny bullshit, which you absolutely hate. Now, yes, you claim, we have women guests come on, stuff like that, and they're great, they're wonderful, and you treat them with respect and blah blah. But let's talk about some women's sports for once, you fucking assholes. Oh wait, no, we're not going to do that because women's sports, that's yucky. It's going to give us bleh. We can't talk about women's sports. We can talk about fucking soccer, which in the end is actually not a bad idea because soccer is one of the biggest things. But they cover more about soccer than they do women's sports. They cover more about fucking baseball cards than they do women's sports, which is bullshit as well. So they did this whole fucking thing about dating stuff as well. They think they're funny. They're not. They are fucking annoying as hell. And I want them to go away. But unfortunately, they're never going to go away. And they're never going to change. And even if the Ravens are really good this year, they're going to find ways to disassemble them and say how terrible they are. They're not going to win stuff. They're not going to do anything. They're terrible. They've ruined their chance. They're a fucking joke of a team. And they claim, but we love the Ravens. No, you fucking don't. All because Eric DaCosta and Steve Bisciotti will not come on the fucking show and talk to you about anything and doesn't make you feel special. Well, you can fuck off, Locking For. Why don't you go back to fucking TV? We shouldn't even do shit for anyway. You're on for one segment here and there, and you write for their website. Ooh, yay, ooh, and Ken Wyman, you're such a suck ass that you're fucking annoying. So just fuck off, guys. Now, unfortunately, it's something I don't mind. I need to have that background noise. So I will continue to listen to them, but once they start going off on how terrible the Ravens are, whatever, they can just fuck right off. I like some of their interviews they do, and they can talk about some other stuff as well, but they're just annoying as fucking hell. And Tim Barblaze is just long like, duh. You guys are absolutely right. You guys are the coolest things in the world. So I'm just going to repeat everything you said, and you guys are going to like me for it. Well, you can fuck off too. So fuck you all. And I hope, you get off the air soon and we get some real sports radio people on there, you fucking jokes. And get rid of that fucking wagertainment bullshit. Who gives a rat's ass about gambling, you fucks? That's a 13-minute rant, so I'm done. Sorry about the cursing, but it just absolutely boggles my mind how someone who claims to like Baltimore sports actually doesn't. So let's move on. Go from ranting to deaths. John Clayton, the longtime ESPN NFL beat reporter and did some anchoring job as well, was a big part of a lot of their silly commercials they did in the old days, and has been there since I think the beginning, the inception of ESPN. He passed away yesterday, I believe. So he passed away this week. The big death this week was William Hurt. This is the 2022 curse again. Now, William Hurt is a great actor. He is General Ross in the Marvel movies. He was in Incredible Hulk. He was in a Civil War. He was in Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. He was in Black Widow. So he was in a bunch of stuff. He was in Dark City, which is one of my favorite movies. He's in Body Heat, which is a great movie. He's been in a whole lot of, hugely famous and popular broadcast news, let me see if I can get some more of William Hurt's movies. And I'm getting to a point here, so I will. Children of a Lesser God, Body Heat, Kiss of the Spider Woman, Big Chill, Mr. Brooks, Broadcast News, Gorky Park, Altered States, History of Violence, Robin Hood, the one with Russell Crowe, The King's Daughter, The Doctor, Eyewitness, Tuck Everlasting, The Village, The Accidental Tourist. He's filmed in Baltimore a bunch of times. Michael, Into the Wild, Smoke, Lost in Space, Vantage Point, Winter's Tale, One True Thing, AI, Until the End of the World, I Love You to Death, The Challenger Disaster, Changing Lanes, The Good Shepherd. So a lot of big movies. Now, I mentioned Children of Lesser God. That was with Marlee Matlin, who is deaf, and she sign languages. Apparently, the two of them were an item, but turns out that William Hurt is an abusive motherfucker. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he fucking abused physically and mentally Marlee Matlin. So my liking of him has been reduced immensely. But the fact of the matter is, he's still a big, was still a big actor, was in a bunch of famous things, and he's passed away, and that is still, to me, still a big death in 2022. I should have mentioned him last week, but I forgot. Conrad Janis, who died last week, but I forgot to mention him on the show last week for whatever reason. He was an actor on Mork and Mindy and was an accomplished musical musician. He died at the age of 94. He was on Broadway at the age of 13. I think, if I recall, it was a music shop that he worked at in Mork and Mindy. So it was kind of, him, just doing what he did best. Scott Hall, also known as Razor Ramon, a WWE wrestler, died at the age of 63 this week. Renee Poisson, a Washington, D.C. icon and TV anchor in D.C. She passed away this week as well. Demon Slayer artist, backup artist, Tsunamina Sakagudan, died at the age of 84, or 86 rather. He is what I call a backup artist. He's not the artist of Demon Slayer, but he was a guy that's done some background stuff, did some calligraphy, and he's done that for a bunch of other manga. So he was the guy that comes in and helps make things look really cool. So he passed away this week at the age of 86. Bruce Birch, a hit country singer, died this week as well. Filmmaker Brent Renault was shot and killed in Ukraine in the Ukraine war. So that's a major tragedy because he didn't need to die. And Candy Bomber, who dropped sweets during the Berlin airlift, dies. His name was Gail S. Halverton. He was 101 years old. So those are the deaths for this week. Mark Waid and Peter Krause are a writer and artist team that worked for Image a while back and created a character called Irredeemable. Well, Irredeemable has been picked up to be in a Netflix movie, so we'll be seeing a movie from them as well. Marvel Studios is working on a new space project for Disney Plus. We don't know anything about it, what's behind it or whatever, but it is a secret project. A lot of people think it might be Nova, but we'll find out about that as well. A YouTube biopic series from J.J. Abrams will be shown on Netflix later this year. Let's see, anything else that is streaming related on this page. Don Cheadle has joined the cast of Secret Invasion, so he's doing Secret Invasion and Armor Wars at the same time. So that's kind of interesting, which means that maybe there'll be a bit more of a connection between the two. What the hell is that? Something to go at Marvel. I have no idea what that says. 4th season ago at Marvel. I don't know what that is, so let's leave that there. Amazon has officially acquired MGM for $8.5 billion. So we'll be seeing a lot of MGM content from them very soon. Disney Plus announces Sketchbook, an instructional documentary series about drawing, about how to draw and stuff like that. Oh, Daredevil reboot. That's what it is. The Daredevil reboot, because of Charlie Cox like that, has been a go for Marvel. Don't know when it's going to get started, but it is a go and will be coming very soon. Historic Marvel Comics #1, the pay copy goes for $2.4 million in an auction this week. Kirsten Dunst wants to be Mary Jane again in a new Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. My idea for that is to have Tobey and Mary Jane married and their daughter May, it becomes Spider-Girl, which was a series written by Tom DeFalco and drawn by Ron Frenz, which is hugely popular. They should do that and have Tobey be like her mentor. And then I think Mary Jane somehow gets powers also, so they can all be like superheroes all together at the same time. Alexandra Daddario, who's hot as hell, will be starring in Anne Rice influenced, I should say, Mayfair Witches series. She wrote, before she died, she wrote a number of books about witches, and it's being made into a TV show on AMC, and Alexandria Daddario will be signed on to play one of the roles, which is outstanding because she's so freaking hot. Jodie Comer of Free Guy joins Adam McKay's new series, Big Swiss. Don't know much about it, but she has joined it. Snapple Elements is back on the shelves. I used to like that stuff, and then they took it off, and I haven't seen it in a while, but now they're back apparently. Icy, the icy Slurpee type things you get at bowling alleys and other places like that, is now going to be releasing blue raspberry and cherry flavored cookies. Very similar to Oreos, but instead the cream is the blue raspberry flavor and the cherry flavor that you're used to for your ices. So basically just taking the flavors of the ices and just putting them into a cookie format. So on YouTube, there's a video that someone titled Bigfoot Taught Me to Swim. I'd absolutely like to check that out and see what that's about, but I think that's actually kind of funny. Our Great National Parks, with President Obama narrating, reveals a trailer for a series coming out in April, done by people who did Blue Planet 2, I believe. So it's a BBC in some form or another. And it's similar to like that sort of Planet Earth, sort of Blue Earth sort of feel to it, where President Obama talks about different animal species and national parks and stuff like that, which could be really, really cool. Tom Hiddleston and Zawe Ashland have been engaged. I think Zawe was in the Eternals, and we know who Tom Hiddleston is, but they are engaged to be married, so good on that. This week, we got a preview of the new Harry Potter, well, not really Harry Potter, the Hogwarts Legacy video game, which is like an open world Harry Potter game that's been in production for a while now. It is now due to come out. All they say is holiday time 2022, which I'm assuming sometime in November, probably just in time for Christmas. So it looks interesting, and we'll see about that. The first images of the Gremlins animated series on HBO Max came through, and it looks unique. Jumanji is going to become a theme park ride. I don't know which theme park, but it will be coming one. So I wonder what that's all going to be about. Don't know. NASA's giant SLS moon rocket makes its debut. It's going to, get tested on some stuff, and they're going to launch it into space eventually to orbit the moon and prepare for our return to the moon. This is the first step of that. So that's pretty cool. Food related stuff. Nutter Butter Cakesters, which is a softer version of the, Nutter Butter cookie, which is absolutely outstanding, is now out and about as well. Cinnamon Toast Crunch creamy cinnamon spread is out now. So you can spread this, I guess, on your toast, and it's like peanut butter, but it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I guess. Pizza flavored ice cream with mozzarella and tomato jam swirls and basil crust cookies is available at Walmart now. That just does not sound appetizing to me. Lucky Charms is creating their own version of the Croc. It's a Croc. Actually, they're joining forces with Crocs, I should say, and they're going to draw, the Lucky Charms leprechaun, and the different marshmallows are going to be on these Crocs. So that's interesting. Madam Web adds Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney, who potentially be playing the Black Cat. A lot of people are predicting is going to be the case. Judd Apatow, who did the 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, stuff like that. Well, he did a spinoff of Knocked Up featuring Paul Rudd, and I forget the actress' name, but she's married to Judd Apatow as a couple, called This Is 40. Well, that did pretty good in theaters, so they are making a sequel, which is probably going to be called This Is 50. So we'll see how that turns out and see how that appears to be. 13-year-old driving a truck kills 7 members of the University of the Southwest College golf team, as well as himself and a passenger. So 9 people were killed in this crash, and a 13-year-old was driving a truck that plowed into this bus that was had this golf team in it. There are still a few people in the hospital from this, and one's in critical condition, so there could be an additional person. Hopefully there won't be, but still, this is a case that needs to be taken a look at. Why was a 13-year-old driving a truck when he doesn't have a license, and he ended up killing multiple people, including himself? So I talked about Tom Brady coming back. And whenever Tom Brady comes around, there's going to be a scandal. Well, here's a new one that a lot of people aren't talking about. And I'm not saying that he's involved with it, but it is someone, obviously, who's in the know. Do this. And again, this is where the whole wagertainment stuff is absolutely stupid. So sports betting group is looking into, once the NFL is calling for the NFL to take a look at a situation that arose where multiple significant wagers were placed on the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl a few days before Tom Brady came out of retirement. Now, on the surface, it doesn't look like much going on with that. It could just be someone who had high faith that, I don't even know who Tampa Bay's quarterback was going to be, was that they were going to somehow be able to ride the momentum that Tom Brady gave them into another Super Bowl with a young quarterback, and half the people who were on the team said they weren't going to be playing if Tom's not playing. So they were going to lose all those people, and to have someone make multiple giant significant bets and multiple betting spots to have the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. Because at the time, before Tom Brady came back, the odds for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl were astronomical, as no one thought they would be able to do it. So you put some money on that, and if it turns out you're right, you're going to win a ton of money out of it. And I think if they change the odds, you still get what the odds were that you placed it before, because odds changing, you still get, the odds 400 to 1, whatever. You still get that, even though it might have been changed to 5 to 1 that they're going to win, that sort of thing. So you're still going to win a ton of money regardless. So they want the NFL to investigate that maybe someone had inside information, or it was Tom Brady himself telling somebody, go make these bets, make some money and split it with me, whatever. So that's a scandal to come. Now, another scandal for this asshole. So when he retired, a collector spent $500,000 on buying the last football that Tom Brady threw a touchdown in his career. It was going to be the last football he threw for a touchdown, and he paid $500,000 for. At the time, was a good deal because Tom Brady was retired. So now, so literally the next day, Tom Brady unretires. So this guy is out $500,000 for now a useless football. I think Tom Brady should reimburse his money. Ain't going to happen, though, because Tom Brady's a fucking asshole, dickhead, egotistical, shithead narcissist. So fuck him, and I feel bad for this guy, but and why would you buy it anyway? So you're kind of stupid on that end as well. Netflix is Continue to be in like the anime manga thing. They are doing a Tekken series, which I guess is based on a video game. I kind of remember Tekken from the old days, but not much. But that's just been announced. A script for a third Kenneth Branagh Poirot movie has been greenlit. I guess the other two did very well enough that he's going to be able to do that. What If wins Best Animated Series at the 2022 Critics' Choice Awards, so good on that. The Arctic and the Antarctic are seeing freak heat waves at the same time, which is weird considering Antarctica should be starting to dip into their long, cold winter, but they have shown the temperatures are at least 70 degrees warmer than they usually are, which is not good. Graham Greene, actor you may remember from Dances with Wolves and Maverick. He's a Native American. He was in Die Hard with a Vengeance, was in a ton of movies, was in the Twilight films as well, in Northern Exposure too. He has joined the Echo series that Marvel is doing for Disney Plus because Echo is Native American. So it'd be good to see Graham Greene as in a Marvel series, so that'd be kind of cool to see that. Kung Fu Panda is coming back for a new animated series, and Jack Black is coming back to voice the character's name, or a character's voice. Alexandra Shipp joins the Barbie movie with Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. Steve Martin has released information that he's going to be releasing a memoir of his movies and music memories, in a book in November with animations or drawings by Harry Bliss. So it's going to be a unique book with lots of animated stuff, but a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff about Steve Martin's movies, his music career, and possibly a TV series that he's working on now, and his Saturday Night Live stuff. So it'd be good. March 15th was the 100th anniversary of Nosferatu, the black and white D.W. Moreau horror film with a grotesque vampire Dracula sort of creature who was outstanding makeup-wise. And later they made a movie about the making of it, like Shadow of the Vampire, something like that. That had Willem Dafoe as the Nosferatu. And someone else famous was in it also. I can't think of it right now. NASA has a telescope idea that could detect and spot vegetation on distant exoplanets, which could be interesting to see if these planets have any vegetation, thus possibly creating life or handling life, whatever. The first casting for the prequel to Supernatural happened this week. I didn't really pay much attention because I'm not a big fan of Supernatural, but the casting is underway and it is on its way. I talked about that already. Paul Lindsay has been cast in Star Trek Strange New Worlds as Captain Kirk. Got the okay from Shatner himself to be in it, so that's good. Duran Duran is starting announces a tour. My wife is a huge Duran Duran fan. They'll be coming to Meriwether Post Pavilion in Columbia in August, so maybe that'll be something for her to go see. Cadbury cream eggs, which are going to start being they are all over the place now. Easter's coming up faster than you think it is. Are doing something different this year, that there are multiple cream eggs that have cash prizes in it, sort of like a Willy Wonka sort of thing. You find the Cadbury cream egg that has a cash prize in it, and you win it. Twizzlers bunnies are a thing also coming out this Easter. Twizzlers, but in bunny shapes. Sorry, I wish I had some water. But I can't run upstairs and get it, so I'll just have to rush through. There's not much more left in here. Vanilla milkshake potato chips from H-E-B are a thing now, which doesn't make any sense to me. Peeps nail polish colors. Those are bright paisley sort of colors, so it makes sense to have them for your nails, particularly around Easter. Also, Peeps Fruit Loop Pops are out now too. They're just Peeps all in a row that are in Fruit Loops colors. So you can do that. Damon Lindelof reportedly is working on a new Star Wars movie. He was one of the creators of Lost, and did Watchmen series also for HBO. Stephen Moffat is producing a time traveler's wife series for HBO Max. So he started filming that. Puss in Boots gets a sequel with Antonio Banderas reprising his role. It's a sequel called The Last Wish. Be out in movie theaters in September. The Buffalo Bills will be getting a new $1.4 billion stadium, so good on them. They are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl this year, even yes, beating Tom Brady's Buccaneers. Parallels trailer for Disney Plus is a show I didn't know much about, but it's basically a group of friends who go to a weird location and investigate it, and then all of a sudden things disappear and they reappear, and they're all in different parallel dimensions. So it looks interesting and different for Disney Plus. MIT creates a material stronger than steel, but as light as plastic. I guess that's progress. It could be good for other things, I guess, in the end. Meg Ryan, who I actually just watched in Joe vs. the Volcano before I did the show, was adorable in Joe vs. the Volcano. It was one of the best movies out there and one of her best roles. Is coming back to the romantic comedy genre, but in this case, she'll be directing a movie for Netflix called A Lady's Guide to Selling Out. It's going to focus on a woman who's reappraising her life now, but I think it's a younger woman, and Meg Ryan's just directing it. I don't think she's going to be acting in it. A man in England back in 1996 spends a year hooting at owls and recording their responses to him. But it turns out that the owls are not what they seem. The owls are not what they seem. Apparently, it was his neighbor hooting back at him. Why not? You do that. If you hoot, trying to get owls to hoot, you're going to hear. I did that at Cohen's Gap, actually. We did a walk in the night walk around one of the trails, and the one person who's leading the trail did the owl call to try to get someone to respond to the owl call, and we actually get owls to respond to it. So we went back to my campsite. I did the owl call, and someone else nearby did a response as well. So it was not an owl; it was a person at a camp nearby. So I thought that's kind of funny. And finally, to end this episode, excuse me, a little bit of vomit coming up there. An OnlyFans model promises to sleep with every Russian soldier who opposes Putin. Good for her. Everyone should have a goal. And hey, if you refuse to fight for Putin, you can get yourself laid by an OnlyFans model. So good on you, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this week. Next weekend, we're going to do a double shot of Dylan Knows with the Oscar show and a regular show like this. The regular show will be next Saturday, the 26th of March, and then the Oscars are on March 27th. I'll do an afternoon version of it where I will give you my my picks for who's going to win the Oscars. I've been pretty good, but I've lost my source. So now I'm just going to have to take a guess and read some other stuff as well. So we'll see what happens. But there you go. Oscars Sunday is next weekend. Welcome spring. In 11 hours exactly, it'll be springtime. So yippee. See you guys later. Bye.